First, I would like to present memento to the speaker, Mr. Satyajit Vaidya, who had been presenting through remote, but very much part of this today's workshop. I'll request Mrs. Teresa to present memento to Mr. Vaidya, and I'll request Ms. Lucky to accept the memento on behalf of SET, or what we call Satyajit Vaidya. A big round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Vaidya. Thank you, Lucky. I'll ask you to spare two more. Next in the line, I'll request Mr. Stefano Cordilla to please accept memento on behalf of the organizers, the DFI, the NSE, and IGC from Mrs. Teresa Engler. Request Mr. Stefano to please occupy his place on the dais. Next, I will invite Mr. Manish Kumar from ITD Cementation, being one of the expert speaker for Mr. Manish Kumar is not available. I'll request Mr. Santosh Bhoir, Mr. Kamath, to accept a memento as a token of our love, affection to the speaker. Thank you, Mr. Kamath. Thank you, Teresa. I'll call upon Dr. Sivarama Sharma to accept memento from Mr. Bhikshapati Kodai. This is a token of all love, respects. Request Dr. Sharma to occupy his seat on the dais, please. Request Mr. Bhikshapati to present memento to Mr. Manfred Schaff from BOR. Thank you very much. Request Manfred to take his seat on the dais. Thank you, Mr. Bhikshapati. I call upon next eminent speaker, Mr. Ravikaran Vaidya, to occupy the place on the dais. He seems. Request Mr. Anirudhan to accept a memento from the organizer. I'll request Dr. Ramakrishna to kindly offer the memento as a token of the esteemed association. Request Mr. Anirudhan to occupy his seat on the dais. Dr. Vidya Ranya Bandi from BOR Machinan. I'll request Dr. Ramakrishna to present memento to Dr. Bandi and request someone from BOR. You can have a group photo. That will be excellent. Thank you very much. I believe the task of mementos is done. We can.
I request Mr. Prasad, G.V. Prasad, to present a memento to Dr. Basarkar. So Dr. Basarkar is the whole organizer of this program. Very well done. Big applause to him.
Thank you, esteemed speakers, learned delegates. We commence the final session, that is a panel discussion, with a invitation to Director of Operations of Deep Foundations Institute of India, Mr. Venkata Prasad. Request him to kindly join and take his seat on the dais. Thank you very much, everyone. Well, the initiation of the CFA pile has taken several steps. You call it success or towards progress, but yes, we are definitely at a juncture where we are at a point of discussing as to what should be the roadmap ahead, looking at favorable results we have got in terms of execution and some of the load test on the CFA pile. What lies the future of CFA pile in India? There had been apprehensions, particularly the governing bodies of the standards, Indian standards, on the relative merits of execution in terms of quality of this CFA pile. And yes, we have been involving them also so that they are a part of this mission of technology initiative. And therefore, the very much question I would like to pose with this expert panel of speakers as to what lies ahead and what is the scope and what are the possibilities of execution of CFA pile in India. I would like Mr. Venkata Prasad to take up this matter with his introductory and suggestion for the way ahead.
Yeah, before just getting into panel discussions, just want to mention why this CFA pile workshop today. So just give a quick brief about our activities currently, this CFA pile also. DFI India, which started its operation during 2012-13, it started with a mission of elevating Indian deep foundation industry to the best of global levels. It's a big statement. So anyway, the part of tomorrow we have an interesting panel discussion. We will discuss what is that and all. So as a part of that, so we are focusing to have many new technologies, good work practices, skill programs to be implemented in India with the collaborative support of the industry. So unless we have everything in the construction industry, you are aware, it's driven by the owners. If owners only wants, yes, it's possible. Owners in the employers who award the job. And next best thing is that contractors, unless they decide, we cannot do that. So we have to have their blessing, their support. In fact, we also set up a full-time office, DFI office, so to implement all these technologies and all. So I happened to meet the major owners in India, right from Nuclear Power Corporation of India, NTPC, BHEL, Power Grid Corporation of India. So we made a presentation about all DFI activities. They are so happy that we are doing something good for the industry. So only thing is it will take some time to get their support, but we have gone ahead, at least a few of the technologies. This is one CFA technology, the one technology we found globally, it's being implemented, even countries like Bangladesh and also. Somehow for different reasons, India, we could not make a beginning. That's where Dr. K.S. Ramakrishna with vision and other veterans Dr. Basarkar, Ravikiran Vaidya, Keller Hari Krishna, so they felt, okay, we have to start with a trial project, prove that results to the industry so that they can confidently adopt this technology and develop a document and apply for this highest code approval. Then it will be easy. It's a long journey. In fact, we started 2 years before this project. Lot of learnings, lot of hardships, lot of setbacks, but it's a great success finally. Because of the team spirit, we are very happy that so more than 20-25 global experts so involved in that, all major organizations, 10 major organizations involved, whatever Dr. Basarkar has shown. So we feel pride and proud for this achievement. This credit goes to all of you. So we will be doing many more technologies and other initiatives we will be discussing tomorrow. But having done this much CFA, so what is next is a question. So how to implement fast this technology. So while the panelists will respond their own views about this, today we have representatives from EIL, from IIT Madras, so Professor Bhuminathan. So we had a couple of representatives from Tata Projects also, L&Ts also, so other geotechnical professionals. So sir, we want your inputs, how we can speed up this, how to take this stage, maybe next year, 2 years down the line, whether we can do 1 lakh piles, how we can collectively, we can do that. So this is what our mission, so please support us. So I request, you heard respect to experts' view. I would like to Dr. Ramakrishna also share thoughts on that, and just we'll open forum for other speakers and other things. Dr. Ramakrishna.
Good evening to all of you. I think you are all tired because it's not easy for practicing engineers to sit in a hall for the whole day and listen to lectures. And we're sorry that there's some amount of delay here. And delay like the delay in bringing technologies to this country. And my experience is that we are all afraid of failure. We don't take initiative. We don't take the courage to start anything, even though it is very well established. None of us would like to take that first step. That is the reason why we wanted to do it in an independent place, and so that no one feels threatened that if it fails, what happens to my job. So that's how this CFA technology, we thought we bring all the technology, all the stakeholders, show them. Our main purpose was to see that yes, this can be installed. Because whenever we wanted to sell a new technology, the client first question he asks, has it been done in India before? We say that no, it has been done in all the countries for the last 15, 20 years. This is nothing, they don't talk all that. Have you done here? Because my job site should not be the first job site. I don't want to be the guinea pig. So this is the problem. This is the problem that we are unable to bring technologies even if they are 30, 40 years old. And so that is what I request all of you, that particularly the young engineers, if there is an established technology, take the pains to convince your bosses, your managements to try it in the job sites. Take enough precautions, but make sure that the technology comes and benefits this country. As you have seen the whole day, the CFA technology is so beneficial, it is 4 times faster, and the test results show that it is even better than board pile in terms of integrity, and of course capacity is also, as Mr. Cordella was telling in the morning, even the capacity can be more. So what is the way we can go forward? There are 30, 40 technologies which we need to bring into this country. How do we bring it? So this is, I think, this is a challenge for all of us, and let us see how to take this CFA pile forward. Wherever it is possible that a board pile, smaller diameter board piles, shorter lengths, 20, 22 meters, if we convert them into CFA piles, what would happen is that job site moves very fast. Your project completes faster, with less number of rigs and less number of manpower. And that is what we must aim. and then take all the help of international experts to see that that project is a success. Thank you.
Or the owner's support you have for the CFA pile? And how would you see the implementation in India, Mr. Stefano?
Unfortunately, I would like that through this exercise, actually, we could sell more rigs, and I tell you why. Because if we want to implement the CFA properly, we hope that the market will understand that you need, I would say, what we call state-of-the-art product that would allow you to have full record of what you are doing and full guarantee that all the process has been followed properly. Okay, so it's just a joke. Okay. In my experience, I have never seen this type of move in a country. So for the first time, I have seen that you put together manufacturer, you put together contractors, which is very difficult, believe me, I have never seen in my life before. Usually the contractors, they try to be very secretive of what is your knowledge. They don't want to share, because of course that is a tool for them to get more job. For the first time I have seen people putting their knowledge together, sharing part of the job, which is something unbelievable. So really, you did a fantastic job. Okay. The second is, I would not be too much worried about the possibility of CFA technology getting quickly into the market. Because what you needed, you are 100% right, you needed to bring to the country the first example that technology can be done. The pile is a proper pile. You, through this exercise, you have shown to the people, to the contractor, that there are tests available and system to check that the pile is properly performed. So really, I believe you have done a good job for all the contractors. You are teaching them today how they can make more money, which is a fantastic job, because for them, they will make their company more profitable. For us, we hope that through the profit they do with their job, they can even invest a little bit in our equipment. So, and I believe all the country can be happy, because even the country as a nation, much quicker they will have all the infrastructure, new building, and so on. So I remember when I arrived in India in 1994, at that time the first project were the flyovers, because all the roads were congested. So, and really you did a beautiful job. All flyovers in less than 5 years in all the major towns of India. So really, I believe from my side at least, I have nothing to add, just to congratulate for what you have been able to do and to put together. I have no doubt that you will be very successful, and hopefully together we can share a little bit of the success in each of our ways.
Put up opinion from the audience. We have a spectrum of representations. Anyone from the audience who would like to put up the views? Mr. Ramabu, any?
No, I'll take the liberty of calling few of this one. So can I request startup people to say something? No, our target, is it possible to do 2 years down the line, 1 lakh piles per annum? So let us set that target. So how to do that? So we want inputs from the industry.
Hello. Yes, sir. It is possible, sir. Only as you said, it is top driven from client to contractor. So we have to give confidence to client then only it is possible, sir. And also we have to prepare design guidelines for this, and we have to implement how we have to design, and 2911 for the CF files, continuous flight agar files.
Now, before getting into that, so how do you feel? What is your feedback about this
It
today?
is excellent, sir, and it is time saving and effective also in capacity wise.
How can you help reaching to the owners on behalf of Tata?
We will educate the owner, sir. So we will explain the concepts, and we will show them how it works. And with the help of your testing results, we will educate the client how effective these files.
Yeah, our request is that if in that exercise,
Yes, sir.
future, so you also keep us informed now. We also would like to have a Tata Projects as one of the major companies as a partners in that, how they can help.
Sure,
In fact, we are thankful to you for your contribution along Sarita. So they were contributing, they have given 10 lakhs rupees, so we are grateful to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
This also, see how you can help to represent the owners and also give us a feedback anytime, so
Sure.
update us.
Sure, sir. We will take your help also
Yeah.
to educate the client
Yeah.
and owners.
So anybody from L&T left, sir? Yeah. So, madam, so how you can, you are from which department?
We are from Water Department of L&T Construction.
Okay, good. So how do you find today's,
The session was too much informative, and I think last year, last to last year, DFI also was having one session about CFA. So now this is a workshop full day for CFA, so it's too much informative. And once you set out the guidelines, we can definitely educate our clients when we get a project regarding piling. I think we can move forward with this.
yeah, great. L&T is one of the major organizations. In fact, I am a family member of that, I know. So multiple business units are there.
Yes.
And today we have representation from what we call heavy civil,
Geostructure.
geostructures, and
L&T
buildings
infra.
and factories, water supply department, and other even infra project, roads and
Infra projects.
highways. Some 5 BUs, some close to 15 people are. R&D are also there, he is also there. So 15 representatives are there. I think other members have left, so please communicate them.
Sure, sure.
And again, as I was talking, even heavy civil and other department, there is a big scope. Petrochemicals, in fact, I was also touching with PLN Murthy.
Right.
So one of the major strength we are looking forward from L&T. Sir, AECOM is another major consultant. How you can help us? You introduce yourself and...
Yeah. My name is Sandeep Ghumde. In fact, I was involved while installing those CFI piles. So, as everybody is saying, we need to highlight or we need to educate client through you. Basically, we need to first set out the guidelines, and those guidelines shall be implemented through different projects. So, this is my opinion.
No, our request that whenever any chance comes, okay, for this and all, so please try to take up them.
Sure, sure.
As many people you recommend, please keep in touch with us. So
Sure,
Dr.
sure.
Basarkar is the chairman
Yes,
for
yes,
this committee.
Yes, yes.
So keep in the loop and
Sure.
With the consultants, the clients, the owners preparing the basic tender document,
Yes, yes.
there had been very lot of instances where kind of innovative inputs in the tender was always one of the priorities for many of the owners.
Correct.
So similar initiative can be taken by the consultants who support the owners in preparation of the tender documents.
Yeah. That
So-
we can implement.
So that way, this kind of marriage between consultant, the owner, will be benefiting the India in
Yes,
large.
sir. Sure.
So
Mr. Manfred, I'll just like to have your inputs about the possibilities, the prospects in India.
Yeah, first of all, it seems to be my fate today that I always have to talk after Stefano. And that means it is very easy for me, I just can say yes. Because one of the points, the main points he was mentioning, I can underline 100%. All of us, we have never seen a country before where something like that came from an idea of a few people to reality. But now the reality has come, fortunately, and now what to do with this reality? And when I try to compare it to other countries, I got the impression without the inside knowledge here and inside knowledge there, you need guidelines, and this is one of the reasons why I do such an extensive program, that you can formulate guidelines. But the guidelines, they only can be the first step, that other people are encouraged to go that way. But I think I have to say, and I don't know, is it the mentality, is it the bureaucracy, is it the system here? I don't know. But the progress in other areas of the world is mainly is not driven by formulating the guidelines. Even you need them, yes. But I am aware of several new developments where this development came with companies or individuals with a very entrepreneur way of thinking. Then other people saw, it's good, I can make money. And so the system came into the market, and then it was followed by regular guidelines. And maybe this is not so easy here to do it that way, but therefore it is of utmost importance here that you try not to concentrate on these guidelines and specifications and everything. They are important. Without guidelines and specs, you cannot work because you cannot compare, you cannot make tenders and everything. But the main step is what you were trying to find out now, is how to find organizations, how to find companies, contractors, consultants also, who are willing, and I think it's not wrong when I say who are willing to take some risk at the beginning. And they should make a profit out of it. Because if they take the risk, they should have a chance of making a profit. And then I know it's easy to say it like this here. That's a big problem then with owners or so. They say, yes, they can make profit, but not with my money. That's the key point. But just to summarize this, again, it was a real wonderful step which you made, but it only can be successful then if organizations like you are here, and so they are distributing this information, this knowledge, and are willing to take some risk and invest in this system. And with investing in this system, of course, I'm of the same opinion as Stefano, willing in investing may be very good for us, but with investing I mean more, invest, take some risk and do it, and then the rest will follow, not automatically, but it will be easier that the system will grow. Because just by formulating guidelines and specs, there is no system then. Then you have everything written down very precisely, very neat, but not a single meter of CFA pile is drilled then. The mentality of, as you said, the mentality of owners, of consultants, of contractors have to follow this. The last ones who have to change in that's the equipment suppliers. We are, of course we are willing to follow this, and we have the tools. And it is we are able, all of us, we are able to modify these tools to what you need. So it's an important step to have the right equipment and everything. But taking the problems which are there to overcome, this is one of the least problems at the end. That's what I want to say now.
Mr. Vaidya, you had been ambidextrous with both clients, consultants, and the contractors in your profession. So you had met probably the best of the owners within the India, and who are the really the decision maker who can implement a certain policy? What do you say about this kind of technology to develop?
Yeah, I think what I would say is if we really want to move ahead with CFA technology, I agree with Manfred, is that the specifications would obviously come later, but what we really need to have a very clear focus on what we are trying to do. So for example, I would look at, first of all, areas where you have large piling. Simple. In those areas, I would look at locations where you have possibilities of CFA piling, not very deep piles. Okay, so first is just take a map of India, mark those areas where you have large concentration of piling or large projects likely to come up in areas where CFA is possible. Otherwise, you end up running into Mumbai, where you know your CFA is never going to work. So then, the next step would be, that these are, then you look at bigger jobs, or you look at focused things, like for example, you're replacing 3,000 underream piles. Okay, so 3,000 underream piles is a project. You might have smaller structures. For example, the Dahej, you have a lot of tank foundations and there's no rock, so it's like sandy, clay and sandy. So maybe, we had some projects and you had tilt of tanks and all those issues with underream piles, boat piles. So, you're looking to not only replace it, but you're giving them a benefit that if you do a CFA pile, you save cost is one thing, but you have a better foundation. So even if your tank goes out of picture 30 years later, your CFA pile is going to last for 60 years. So for example, a power project, a typical power project cycle would be 30 years, but the NTPC, for example, they're going to replace their decks. Or they're going to replace their superstructures because but the foundations, if they last for 60 years, 70 years, you're going to sell them something. So you're going to sell them an idea, I think, as what Manfred told, that eventually it has to have a cost-benefit ratio. So no owner is going to take that risk unless you justify that for a certain cost spent, you have a benefit. Whether it's a client, whether it's a contractor or a consultant, he still needs to justify at the end of the day that yes. So we need to look at broad areas, identify projects or areas, and then propose them. Maybe have a workshop, a 1 day or a half-day workshop, so that they have something like what we had today, is that, you have a half-day workshop, and then they know what follows right from the start to end. And then maybe then there is wider acceptance. Yes, owners are conservative in our country, we know that, and it takes time, but once it goes into their heads, it goes very fast. So that's what is the beauty of it. So. I think good question. Somebody who's more of an expert would answer.
Yeah, I think there is no targeting, because just like Mr. Vaidya was just now mentioning, let's take a power plant in a largely uniform soil area, and let's say all critical structures are on large diameter board piles, like a turbo generator foundation. But there are a lot of offsite facilities where you don't need that kind of big diameter piles. You can have smaller diameter piles, shorter length piles. You can target that, and because they are not very critical of say settlements and all, you can take those piles and do it. You don't have to do major risk. If you think that technology is still not proven in India, like that you can do. So 600, 800 we can target at 20 meter up to 21 meters.
Yeah, coming to my next question to the equipment manufacturers, a simple rotary rig of say 600 to 800 of 20-25 meters and a CFA rig of 20-25 meters, what is the price difference we are talking about? In the machines, a CFA rig of 25 meters and a regular piling machine of 25 meters. What is the price difference you are envisaging?
The price difference. Yeah. Okay, there are
the power and the price.
If you put like that is, I would say, we have to elaborate a little bit more.
No, because I also sell equipment.
No, okay. Yeah. First of all, we start looking at the diameter, right? Yeah. So I would say if I have to perform anything ranging between 400 up to 800, just to start. We make life easy for everybody, right? And I have a project where average drilling depth is something between, let's say, 15 to 20 meter, soil condition, provided the soil conditions are suitable, I definitely would go with the piling rig for CFA. Why? Because I know because of the experience done in other places of the world right now, that my production can be at least, as I say today, I would expect 3 times the production I get with a standard bore piling equipment. So definitely I would have a benefit as a contractor, right? Then if instead we look at the possibility of performing this type of piles, I can go with a very small machine. Today in the market, bore piling rigs up to, I say, 750 or 800, we have what they call mini piling rig that definitely they can do this type of job. Those mini piling rigs range in terms of price, I'm giving you some indicative price, a European price, even 250,000 euro, right? So, and if instead we have to go with a rig set up for CFA of that side, I would expect you take a little bit, one class above, I would say, which cost more. Let's say over 350 or from 350 more. But you have a lot more production.
Coming to the second question, once we are analyzing the productivity of a rig, the time is wasted in traveling, spotting, and then the rig process, drilling process starts. Now there are rigs with a telescopic mast, which are easier to move, faster to locate, and this drilling RPM is much bigger than 10-20 RPM what we have in a normal drilling rigs. We go to 60-70 RPM. So they are as fast as what you are talking about doing with the CFA rig. Do we need to spend that kind of money with the
telescopic
rigs?
mast?
Yeah. We go around 50-60 RPM. We don't go for 10-20 RPM.
It's not important, the rotation is not the only factor, because the rotation is combined to the power, or better, the torque. And the torque and rotation are controlled by the engine you have. It's not that energy you cannot
no,
get
what
from nothing.
What I mean is the maximum time is wasted in travel, spotting, leveling, machine, and the drilling part takes some time. Now, drilling parts take a longer time if you have a low RPM rigs. If the same rigs can be upgraded to a little better, higher RPM, do you think it can improve the productivity?
No, I think the question is put in the wrong way. You see, you need I would say, the good rig, which gives you the best combination in terms of power and rotation. And I don't even agree with you when you talk about traveling time and so on. Today, for this class of rig we are talking about, we have a rig which you can move in one load only. So the transportation time is exactly the same. The difference is that with a certain type of machine, actually you get much more if you combine the two values. So you cannot compare. You see, if we want to be a little bit selfish, I would say, I can even go to the very old pendulum system. You got what you pay for. Then you can expect a lot more. But you see, even for a contractor, I believe we have to be very transparent. They get what they paid for.
Oh.
Just want to give another small additional comment to that. When you are asking the question, yeah, but there are rigs with 60 RPMs rotary drives. I agree. I just want to say similar, yes. This is not the case for rotary piling, and CFA is a rotary piling. I'm not aware of rigs with 60 RPM for rotary piling, and on the other hand side, when we discussed these things today in several presentations, we saw there is a strict combination between revolution, which is the RPM, and the downward pressure. And if you would go 60 RPM, this does not fit together. So 60 RPM, that's type of machines for, I say, other purposes. And the telescopic mast, well, most of the manufacturers, we also have rigs with telescopic masts, but not mainly for rotary drilling, because you always have to look at the full picture, and CFA piling needs power, power in terms of torque. And there you very quickly come to the limit with this type of telescopic masts. And the new series of rigs throughout reputable companies, they are so compact that you really actually can put it in mainly one load there. But of course, that means the size of the machine is limited, and that means the diameter is exactly what we were saying, say 600 millimeter piles, maximum 20 meters. If you need more, or if you want more, then you need a bigger machine.
Yeah, I was coming to that only because the moment.
And I was talking to the contractor, why you don't consider CFA? And honestly, everybody was scared to start. Same as India. Why? Because I mean, a contractor is most of the time is very traditional. He doesn't want to take the risk. On the other end, all the contractors, since are businessmen, are very clever. As soon as they see somebody else has tried something new and is successful, believe me, each of them they believe to be much better than the other. So this is the turning point. That we start, as soon as they see, I guarantee you, the first contractor, successful contractor in India performed the CFA, then immediately all the other will follow because as a businessman, they believe to be better. They say, okay, equipment I can buy, but I know the business much better than him. No, I have much better experience. And you will see, it's unbelievable, but everybody will try to do better. And the technology will spread very quickly. What is important is that we have, and I agree with the gentleman, I would say we have to start with the easy one, yes. We have not to dream. Today there was somebody asked a typical question, can I go with the CFA through rock? And I kept quiet. I kept quiet because I know people that they did something that I would never ever recommend it. I saw people performing, let's say, 3 meters with a rig that I would have said maximum 1.5. And I have seen people doing CFA through Sydney. I don't know whether anybody of you has been in Sydney. If you have seen Sydney sandstone, you would be surprised to know that there has been somebody able to drill at least 6-7 meters, 800 millimeter diameter through Sydney sandstone. So it's not a complete full pile, and he would never selected that rig for the full length, but he was able to do more than the socketing because the consultant, being a consultant, is never happy on the level you achieve, and he said, no, please, 1 meter more because I'm not sure whether you really reach the sound rock.
I'll put up Dr. Lakshmana from GC, as well as now the contractor's representative. He has also handled multi-projects. What would you like to say about?
Good evening. So as we are thinking about the thought process to way forward, so we know that it is very hard, difficult to apply this technology for a permanent load-bearing structures. To apply the permanent structures, we need to get more approvals. There is so many codal provisions are required. So what I can suggest that Now we are doing so many underground metro projects, which is coming up large scale stations. So majority of the stations we are going with the bottom up constructions. So all bottom up constructions we need to construct a secant piles, which is a temporary structures. So now the secant predominantly we are going with board casting site. Why can't we try with CFA piles in place of secant piles? Because it's a temporary structure, it is easy to convey client as well as the consultant, because we are predominantly going with the strut and weather system. So that maybe will give some confidence level to other people. Then we can, with that experience and results, we can proceed further to get approvals for the permanent structures, where we are predominantly take as a part of load bearing. So this is a small thought process I have it. So as we all the key contractors like L&T and ITD and Afghans, we are all are here. So we are recently starting up with the Bangalore Metro. So these are the only three key players. So why can't we all three together can approach to the client and we can convince them to proceed with the secant pile system with the CFA system.
Speaking of secant piles, they'll have hard pile, the soft pile.
So that is with only
That
M10
means
concrete.
the
So I don't.
Vital input on the concrete will be different for the two piles. You can throw light on this requirement? The soft pile for...
Sir, as we are saying that this CFA pile can do with a strength of 20 MPa rock strength. Generally, the soft pile we will go with M10 or M15 maximum. So which is 15 kPa strength, 15 Newton per mm square. And that we can overcome by doing the drilling in the next day or within a 2 days or 3 days time. So the concrete will not set and will not get the 28 days strength. So I think there is no issue with the drilling through the soft concrete with this CFA technology.
Dr. Sharma, any views?
No, I need some more data to come to this real thing. Can Dr. Kesar will throw some more light?
I talk too much.
Yeah. No, I think, you know.
You can be this one in front of me. So.
One thing I wanted to tell you that if you accept CFA pile as like any other pile, first accept it. Move it in that direction. All the other secondary things will come forward.
Sir, to accept
no,
it.
Wait. When we started in this country, 10 years back, self-compacting concrete, it was costing us 3 times more than the normal concrete. We started importing from abroad even some of the viscosity modifying agents. The moment contractor have feel that yes, it is the concrete which we can prove it with the safety and time and good quality, everyone has jumped into the system. I don't think we should be afraid of the cost or anything like that. First, we should understand the technology, move in the right direction. Don't limit only to secant pile or some soft systems, nothing like that. Technology is same. Concreting is same.
Mr. Anirudhan.
Yeah, just continuation with what Savitri said. Mr. Harikrishna, how to integrate these different stakeholders here, stage 2. Mr. Harikrishna suggested, in fact, NTPC and BHEL got close to 100,000 piles scope. Many projects they are executing. In fact, he suggested us to talk to BHEL and NTPC. We did make a presentation. They were so happy. And what forward-moving idea could be, so what Mr. Harikrishna also suggested, the guidelines are available, tender is there. Tender, they can make a provision and give the scope to contractor to prove that this one, the strength and quality. Then if it is acceptable, they can implement that. Can they not have the guidelines that, in fact, BHL also, they were accepting that. So myself and Dr. K.S. Ramakrishna, way back in October 2018, we made a presentation to them. And this is where I feel a government agency like IIT Madras, they rely more on IITs. So probably they support us. So IIT Madras, IIT Gandhinagar, IIT Delhi, so who are also closely working with us. So they help us in this direction. suggest them, yes, this is what this, you can go ahead. So that is what is one idea. In fact, EL also, I was talking to Mr. Panwar. Yeah, he is also happy. I also asked him, since he's also government consultant, he can also push. And he suggested, in fact, he has got some of the committee members in this Indian standards, that committee in piling. He is ready to help. While one end we'll develop the document and try to push this IS code, going by the guidelines. So these government institutes, they can help. So they have a lot of face value. They don't believe contract, at least they heard us, because DFI is an independent body, they are given a chance to hear us. But these IITs and other institutes can help us. Sir, I would like to have your thoughts on that, Professor Bhuminathan.
Those who are involved for successful implementation of this program. I know that last 7 years, more than 8 years, every time when I meet Dr. Ramakrishna, first word will come CFA files only. At least this year we are able to demonstrate actually. I think most of us are happy that this technique will work in India. Of course, not all soil conditions. We all know that we are all geotechnical background, most of them geotechnical background, we know that. But one thing is that in India, number of cases, you know, that it is recommended by design owner's consultant actually. Like EL, some cases is a owner consultant. And already the specification made actually, finally they are recommending, for example, board pile. IIT, others are involved only for implementation only, or proof checking only. Very rare, some cases only they are asking in the beginning for recommendation. Number of cases is already designed, already part of the tender document. Already they have to go for board pile. They have to show this capacity. We are involved finally to, as a third party, independent parties to verify actually. Of course, we can give opinion, that time will be already late actually. Of course, there are some organizations, they may ask us, definitely we will recommend, particularly Chennai, where we are going large number of piles actually, ourselves involved with government institution, we can recommend. Still that, you know, that local contractors should agree for that, because number of local contractors have good, relationship with the local people actually. They may adapt only whatever the technology available actually. Therefore, we also train the local contractor like a leading agency. We are talking about national level larger project. But local level, there are other projects, medium projects, definitely local contractors involved. We have to go this technology to them actually. That through us, through IIT, we can do that. And of course, part of IS code, definitely we can contribute. Not only one IIT, several IITs, NITs can be part of that actually, definitely. We will help on the direction.
Sir, I just want to add something. Right, why we always talk about government body? Why don't we look about the private people? Right? One thing is, let us say, how accurately we are getting a geotechnical investigation data in the tender stage. You do one borehole for a big plant, right? And then start writing the technical specification for that, right? So now there is a gap in the first deciding with respect to one borehole and telling whether this system, whether I have to recommend a board pile or I have to recommend for a CSA file, right? So there is a gap in that one. Then the second one is onto the, I can see on the dais, right? There are the people, Italy and Germany, then Australia also, they have implemented this system, right? Successfully, they have executed some projects. Irrespective of whether that project belongs to a government body or private body, right? They have implementation is done. And also the quality control systems also well shown in the presentation, right? And in other people from our own, right, we started doing, right? So we started doing on our own just to tell to that Indian context also this system will work, right? So now what happens is that if I take one example, that the IS 2911 code, right? if you look the pile load test clause there, what is written there? It is written that if there is a change in the diameter of the pile, or change in the length of the pile, or change in the strata of the soil, you have to do the some more tests, right? So there the people are not allowing us to use engineering judgment, right? So it's the soil behavior, right? It cannot be decided by some other person. Only the geotechnical engineer can understand very clearly and then tell that okay, even if you do for a 1.2 meter dia pile, I can make an engineering judgment, tell you for a 1 meter or 1.5, right? So similar way here, if you do the test into the Hisar, okay, then I have to implement a project into the somewhere in the South India. People will say, okay, that kind of soil only this is applicable. This is not applicable in this soil, right? Now, if you look overall, it boils down to the mind setup, right? So, what I would look is that when we are writing a tender document with the confidence level of the investigation data, right? And if we start with the private parties, right? And then say that, okay, if you spend some money in the initial stages, right? Let's do the test with the CFA pile system. And in this soil conditions, this is applicable and it will give some saving to you, right? So private parties, generally they accept the new technology and also you are developing the guidelines and there are then established codes and then practices are there, right? So then they will be accepting. If you do the test and then say that, okay, you are confident, your consultant also has witnessed everything, then he can write that into the tender documents, right? Then afterwards it can be implemented. Without that, if after the tender document comes, it is very difficult to implement changing the specifications from the tender document is very difficult. So I would look in this direction than going on to attacking only onto the government bodies, because they will not be accepting unless their consultant agrees.
No, he is representing earlier Rambo and L&T infrastructure. He is also a consultant. Yeah, that's one route we can follow that private owner, particularly the building industry.
We'll get inputs from Mr. Peters.
Yeah, see.
We are all talking of CFA for last 5 years. Okay, but 2 years ago, we did not have large diameter board piles in the country, 2 meters. I didn't see any of them or probably even few of them. If you look just in last 1 year, we have 1.8 meters, we have 2 meters, we have 2.2 meters, we have 2.4 meters, and I'm looking something like 3 meters for the first time probably. In Mumbai, they are thinking of. Where is the code? There's no code. There's no guideline. There's no equipment in India which is currently available. So it comes from Germany or Korea. So question is, who bears the cat first? You wait for the guidelines, you get started. So let me come. So it's not about being in the government or being in the private. Somebody has to take that initiative and say, we are not promoting CFA. Again, the thought process thinking here is we in DFI are trying to promote a certain technology. No, it's about, is the technology useful to save your time and cost in a certain situation? If yes, try and use that. That's all. So it's not about government or private, or it's not about specifications, but something, if it is useful, why not try and implement it? So we just need to open our eyes and see if it's possible, if it's acceptable, go and try and do it. I mean, it's not a very big cost. Eventually doing few hundred piles or something as a overall cost of a power project or overall cost of a big project is not something which is so huge that you can't try. But if you don't do that research, you would never end up. So don't wait for specifications. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I have given one simple example to you about IS code pile load test. Right. So if you change the diameter, they will ask you to do one more test.
No, understand.
If you change the length, you have to do one more test.
So your view is well taken. So we should also try with the private design. We don't have to wait the code. That's what you are trying to say.
Yeah.
Consultant should take also a lead.
Yes, and also I would say that look into the non-seismic area locations, because the seismic area locations are the density at the top is very high. Right, pushing the case may be difficult.
In fact, AECOM and other people also doing large projects for real estate builders, high-rise building. There also phenomenal scope is there. That's where these consultants also can help us with a great value to all of us.
From the presentations in the morning and the question and answers, we find in a location where all these types of piling could be done, CFA piling is most economical. So if that is the situation, with the government not coming forward to immediately bring about tender conditions and all that, there is a DBOT system where you have design, build, operate and transfer projects, which many of the infrastructure companies are doing. They can straight away go for CFA piling in their DBOT tenders, number one. And number two, we have 25 major infrastructure companies in India whom you can, pick it up. And they're all doing many of these DBOT projects. So certainly I don't think it's so difficult for anybody to sell this concept to these infrastructure companies, number one. Secondly, some of these infrastructure companies in India, like Shapurji Polanji, L&T, Afghans, are doing projects overseas, wherein they can straight away implement and get the knowledge and experience and get back to India and do the same. This is my idea.
Mr. Anirudhan, I'll ask for a word from you.
I may look a bit pessimistic when I say everybody was talking about everybody was talking about teaching or get the honors, the idea of good advantage of CFA by teaching them. By my experience for last several years with honors, big honors, and the consultants, even small change in implementing a small shallow foundation, just increase 1 ton per meter square, I have to spend 3 months. This is the mindset. This is what everybody talks about mindset. So it's not very difficult to achieve anything if the person in the seat is ready to take a proper decision. That's a key point. There are many sites where people are ready to take risk or ready to accept the concepts or the actual site conditions and make changes. If that is there, everything can be done. That's my view.
Dr. Ramakrishna, I'll request you to offer your closure remarks.
I think thank you all for very actively interacting and giving very good suggestions. Like Mr. Rajan talked about DBOT and why don't you go to them, and that's one good suggestion. Approach the private people. They may be accepting it because it is cheaper, they will take it. And somebody was looking for guidelines. So I think this is a good forum where we have got a lot of nice, valuable feedback, and we'll try to put them all together and debate with our own committee and see what is the strategy we should adopt when we are going to conduct various workshops across the country, and to showcase what we have done and how do we really promote this, and using all this feedback that you have given, we'll try to see to win some of the clients for us to start this program. From my request to all of you is, when you go back and spend some more time on this and see wherever the possibilities are there, you please approach us in the DFI, and we will talk to the experts in the world and bring this comfort to you that yes, in your project this can be implemented safely. I just tell you, when Delhi airport project was done, when we looked at, because they are all uniform soils and we wanted to do CFA there, we requested Trevi, their construction wing, soil mix construction wing, we sent the data to them and then asked whether CFA is an ideal thing, because we already bought rigs which are winch type, and we wanted to convert them into CFA. That was our purpose when we bought the rigs in 2007. And fortunately for us, of course, Delhi airport, we did not have a need for boat piling at all. So we missed that opportunity, but we have done on open foundations. But there are opportunities where we can definitely work together and make sure that whoever is trying to implement this technology, we will back them up with expertise from outside and give them the comfort, and then make sure that in their project this can be implemented. So all of you kindly take this, whatever our learnings today, and see which are the projects where we can implement them. That is my request to all of you. Thank you very much for your wonderful participation, even at the end of the day, very tiring day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramakrishnan, and learned speakers on the dais. As a coordinator of this event and coordinator of the CFA technology, I would like to put up the final words of appreciation, which is, I feel, my humble duty to say so. Thanks to the learned speakers from the day one, from the morning session, they had been actually imparting their expertise, their experiences to the audience, to us also, and to the audience, a big thanks for the patience, because a lot of overpouring of knowledge, a lot of overpouring of discussions have been going on. Overpouring in the sense that we have passed 1 hour from the scheduled time, 6 o'clock. I really appreciate the patience of the delegates. They have spent 1 hour extra time of this today's activity. I will reserve, apart from my thanks to all the support we have received from the stated supporters, I would like to earmark a support we have received from Tata Project. They had been actually very singularly, they have supported us in a very big amount, which has made a lot of difference in our CFA initiative. Thank you very much to Tata Projects. A big round of and also a big round of applause for all the supporters, save one, because I would like to place exclusive words for them. A big round of applause for all the supporters. A singular mention of the principal supporter, the NPCI, Nuclear Power Corporation of India. They had been actually initiating a word, okay, we are going to support you for CFA. You take the initiative, we'll be there, always behind and giving you a lot of support. And they had maintained their words. They had been putting all the supports right from day one. There had been some internal, the differences, but yes, the pumping of efforts, the pumping of support was always there from NPCI. Yes, a big round of applause is deserved to NPCI. Nevertheless, a easy task. So if I have forgotten anyone's mention, I may be pardoned, but yes, the thanks and appreciation goes to one and all, whether it is individual, whether it is organization. Thanks a lot very much. So to talk of this event, I would like to thank the delegate, the experts, and whosoever are involved in organizing an event of this magnitude. It starts from the brain, that is the even the peon who are working over there, the organizers, the caterers, the volunteers, all involved, they make the events something of a joy. And yes, this event had been a so-called joy for all of us. Thanks a lot to those people who had been part of this workshop. I would pass on my duty to the organizer of this event, having said that the coordinator of CFA activity now passes the baton to the organizers. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, one and all. Thank you.